Haseeb, thank you for joining me. Founder and CEO of Mighty Mass Club, host of Transforming Body and Empowering Minds podcast. For anyone that doesn't know, who is actually Haseeb?
First, thanks for having me on, Joe.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, we haven't known each other that long, but we've become good friends in the short time that we've known each other.
Completely agree.
So yeah, we met in I think was it October 24?
Pass. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it will because 26 now, isn't it?
It's just yeah.
I was going to say 23, but I think it is 24.
It's 24. Yeah. 24. So we were both on a podcasting course together in Peterborough, weren't we? That's where we met.
Yeah.
And I pretty quickly after that, I knew what I wanted to do. So just a little bit of background. My work-wise, I've got nothing to do with my podcast. So what I do in my work and my business is completely separate to the passion that I have, which is what my podcast isn't about. So I'm a business consultant by trade. So that basically means that I go into businesses and companies and I help them to improve their processes and procedures. And that has come from a legal IT background. So I worked in a lot of corporate law firms in London, like over 10 years ago, and then sort of progressed from there into business consulting. But the podcasting, that came about because I've got a passion for strength training and helping people to become better, not just in their body, but in their mind as well. And I'm quite a spiritual person, so I like to meet people who are similar to me and who want to improve themselves. So the podcasting came about because I started doing coaching sessions for people who are looking to increase their strength, get up to date with their nutrition, and just little hacks and tips and how to just become better, more positive mindset. So that's sort of how it started. So I started the podcast in January 2025. I think I released about 6 episodes. I had a couple of interviews and a couple of solos. And then I got taken away from it because my dad was really ill. He was in hospital. He'd been ill for some time, but it was getting progressively worse. And so I had to stop recording podcasts and then spent a lot of time with him. So I live in Switzerland. I work here, live here, my wife's here, my kids are here. So we've set up home here. My father was still living in the UK at the time when he was ill. And so I spent a lot of time going back and forth, spending time with him while he was in hospital, taking care of him with my brothers, who were absolutely amazing because they spent pretty much every day with him, looking after him, taking care of him while he was in hospital. But in the end, he succumbed to his illness. And in April, he passed away. So it was weird. I was going through this sort of transition, this phase where I decided kind of what I wanted to do with my life. Like I was trying to move away from my business consulting and I really wanted to become like a coach and sort of really help people on a one-to-one basis. And then when my father passed away, it just completely kind of destroyed what was important to me. It made me rethink everything about my life and about what was important because I knew it was coming. It's kind of like a paradox. So you know that this person who's really ill, they're probably going to pass. There's a good chance that they're going to pass. It's kind of like a warning. So you kind of prepare yourself, but nothing prepares you for when it actually happens and how to deal with that. And it was more personal for me because I was really close to my dad. I had quite a tough childhood, and my dad was one of the very few people who made me feel really safe. So when I was with my dad, I was in my safe place, and he always made me feel safe. So losing that strong character and that person who always made me feel safe was really tough. But it basically made me realize that priorities changed. What I really wanted out of life was different. And yeah, I just, it is strange because since my dad passed, I haven't really done any personal training. I've not done any coaching, but I've gone back into business consulting. So at the moment, I'm actually working for a UN specialized agency in Geneva. And my mindset with that was, if I'm going to do something, at least try and work with an organization that's trying to do something positive in the world.
a lot there, isn't there? Because that I completely relate. I know. I remember you telling me you're really close with your brothers as well, aren't you? And
I am, yeah.
they were still close to him, weren't they? And then that's
Really
stuff
close,
like,
yeah.
I remember you. Were you the oldest?
I'm the oldest,
Older,
yeah. So I'm the oldest of 8 brothers and sisters. So there's a lot of us.
That's a lot, isn't it? And like you said, it's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure for the oldest as well, really, isn't it? With the like take the reins, really, as such. Like I said, obviously, I said I lost my dad when I was 20. I was, but exactly the same what you said. My dad was amazing on everything, and he was a great role model, and all like exactly what you said. My dad was ill, and exactly what you said. You know it's coming, and probably if I'm being honest, like not like of course didn't want it to happen, but remember at the very end it was just he couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, and it was just like just needs to be over now, just for his own sake as well, sort of thing. Because this is no good for anyone. But like it's exactly how you put so perfectly, as you always do, because you're great with words. That nothing prepares you for the void as such, and then then like you said, everything that was important completely changes, doesn't it? Because going back to with your podcast and then your the Mighty Mass Club, everything. Your dedication was massive in that, wasn't it? When I first met you, with you had the business cards all done. You speak amazingly well on camera. I said I weren't having it. He's only just started this. He was brilliant, and like you said, I suppose it's just a lesson, isn't it? Not even just a lesson, but just stuff changes, doesn't it? Because
it does.
I know we used to speak a lot, didn't we, on WhatsApp? And then I knew your dad was ill in that, and then you just sort of like dropped off, and I thought, I hope he's all right, sort of thing. And then obviously had probably brief chats in that, but obviously with you busy and stuff. Yeah. And then it's just mad. It's just crazy how things change. And like you said, putting that in perspective, it's just got to do what's important for yourself, hasn't it? And obviously you've got I knew you had a great profession anyway, because you're a very intelligent chap, and I knew you had a good job. And I thought it was consultant, business consultant, but I weren't quite sure, so I didn't want to drop that in there at the start in case but it's just like, I think my advice to you, like you need advice of me, but you just got to do the same for your boys, haven't you? And just be there for your boys.
That's exactly it. Absolutely.
That's all I do with my kids now. I just want to be the best I can for them, and obviously for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I say to my brothers all the time, I say, look, I want to be, I know I'm not even 1/10 of the man that my dad was, because he achieved so much. But I said to my brothers, I said, I want to be to my kids how my dad was to me. That's all that's important to me now. And I've got 2 boys, and there's quite a big age gap between them. The oldest is going to turn 13 tomorrow. The youngest is 4. He's going to turn 5 in April. So there's a bit of an age gap between them. But for me, it's all about them. You know, it's just about my family, about my wife, my kids, and my brothers, and my mom, my sisters. And I just, it's like a responsibility. Like, I just said that I'm not even 1/10 of the man that my dad was, because he did so much and he took care of so many things. Like, one of the things that we don't understand is, and what we don't realize is, that sometimes that parents really protect us from a lot of things that happen. Like, there'll be little arguments happening, disagreements, stuff happening at work, and they'll never expose you to it. You don't know what's happening. They'll just come home, they'll get on with their life, they'll go to work, and they'll deal with things, and they'll never tell you. And one of the things I realized after my dad passed away, because he was sort of a pillar in the community, because in the Asian community, you have certain people who you go to, who you ask for advice, and if they can help you. My dad was one of those people, because he was an accountant, so everyone knew him. And it's only after he passed away and people were coming up to my brother and saying, did you know that your dad helped me, like, get sponsorship, for example, when I first came to this country? He helped me get a job, and because of him, I ended up getting married and I've got kids. And my dad never spoke about these things. He never told us. So not only did he kind of shield us from the good things that he was doing, he was also shielding us from all the other stuff that he had to deal with, like the disagreements, the arguments, the infighting, all the problems he had at work. He never told us. He shielded us from all of that. And now, obviously, me and my brothers were finding out things because he's not around, and we're having to deal with it. So one of the best things that you can do in a way is it's a balancing act. You want your boys or your kids to grow up having had a lot of exposure to the real world, but at the same time you also want to protect them, because it's a natural instinct. Even as a father, generally you're a bit more strict and you're like, well, if you fall down you get up, whereas the mums will go and they'll pick them up and kind of mollycoddle them a little bit, and, oh, are you okay, is everything fine? And I'm like, no, if you fall down you get up, because that's life. But at the same time, inside you do feel it. You feel the pain when you see your child get hurt. But it's that balancing act that I think my dad did really well, which I'm trying to now emulate, which is trying to just balance, how do you expose them to the things that they need to be exposed to in life, but also protecting them from certain things as well.
I completely same again. I completely agree with you. Like we went to the castle by us yesterday. Albie was on his bike. I'm flying down the hill, and I was like, "Mate, slow down. Just going to get a bit quick here." And then he decided to go down this big hill anyway. And I couldn't believe he was doing it, to be honest. I was like, I think you should maybe just come down this one. He's like, no, I want to do this one. And then basically didn't have a choice because he was already going at this point, and he just went flying and then straight over the handlebars, covered in mud, head to toe. And then he was like, he said, luckily nothing up with him, but just a few tears and that. But it's just bit, like you said, not quite as kind of get me words out now. But it was just like you said, you just want him to protect you and be fine, don't you? But at the same time, like you said, it's a tough old world out there, isn't it? So it is a balance.
It is a tough old world. Yeah, and I think the kids growing up these days, they're going to be living, when they're our age, they're going to be in a completely different world to what we are, because technology and social media is just it's taking over people's lives, and we didn't have that as kids growing up.
Right.
So it's really tough, and it's difficult for them to navigate, but also for us as well. As you get older, you become more resistant to change, and you kind of care a little bit less about things outside of what matters to you as well. When you're young, everything matters to you, right? Your friend might have said something or looked at you in a particular way, and you get upset about it. But when you're an adult, when you've grown up and you've got kids and family, you're like, I care less and less about most things.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think a good rule that I heard is that if it's not going to worry in 5 years, don't worry about it. And I think that's great bit of advice I do, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Same again, you get worried about little things, don't you? It's just we're all going to be not here one day, aren't we? And it's just, don't sweat the small stuff. And then I do need to take that advice myself, though.
That's it. Exactly that, man. Like you said, we're not going to be here one day. And my father passing away and like your dad passing away, probably put that into perspective. Like one day that's going to be me. There's a saying like, oh, there's two things that are inevitable, which are death and taxes. Yeah. I kind of half agree, because I know there's a lot of people who do evade taxes.
Yeah.
So, but death is absolutely guaranteed. And I say to my boys, I say it's not just human beings, any living thing, whether it be a tree, a blade of grass, or a human being or an animal, it lives and it dies.
Yeah.
It has a life cycle. So you have to consider that and think about, what are you really doing here? What's your purpose? Are you really trying to maximize every day to do the things that you want to do and be the best that you can be? And it's hard because you get caught up in the day-to-day life. Like you and I, we've got jobs, we go to work, and we lose sight of sometimes what's important because we just get caught in the grind every day.
Completely.
It's so difficult. Yeah.
With this, obviously, I want to build this up, and hopefully it can open doors for me. But at the same time, like you said, it's contradiction, because I could be spending this time with Albie. Albie's down watching TV now. Like, he's like, once we've done this, we'll be up out on the bike. But it's like you said, you don't want to. You want to better yourself as all you can, aren't you? But you just need that fine balance as well, don't you? And
it's all about balance.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because there's no point. They say, don't they, the richest man in the graveyard and all that. But the time with your children and just with the loved ones in general, not just children, is so important. And it's like you said, you just don't realise the impact people have on you until they're no longer there. And so
absolutely,
and you just got to be the best person you can be for yourself
and use them. Yeah, and use them as a great example. Try to do the good things that they did and carry them forward. One of the great things my dad did, which I never really got involved with, when he started the charity. So originally my dad is from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Well, he was actually born in India, but then when he was about 2 years old, there was the separation. India split, and some part of it became Pakistan. And so his family, my dad's family, moved to Pakistan. And so my dad kind of grew up in the middle of a farm in a village. So he was like a village boy, but he'd always wanted to come to the UK and he wanted to be well educated. So he came to the UK and got himself educated here in the UK, got himself a job, got married to my mum. And then back in, I think it was 2013, he started a charity back home in Pakistan where he opened a hospital.
Wow.
And it's amazing, man. And I remember in 2011 or 2012 going with him because he'd managed to, so the land, it was owned by his family. So him, his brothers and sisters, they all had a joint share. And he'd basically said to them, look, I want to do this project where I want to open a hospital and offer free care for people who can't afford it. And some of his brothers and sisters were not really sort of interested. So they sold him the land. And I remember going with him at the time that he managed to buy all of the land, and he was telling me all the plans. He said, I'm going to build a hospital here. We're going to have these rooms and we're going to have a computer room with IT equipment. Why don't you come and you can teach the kids how to use computers? They can learn how to use the internet. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of young at that time. I was sort of 31, 32. I wasn't really interested. I was like, yeah, Dad, it sounds great. Good luck with it kind of thing. But he built a legacy, and now we still have doctors who come to the hospital, and it's an eye hospital, so they do free cataract surgeries for patients. They have a minibus that goes, picks them up. Some of them come, and we have a doctor on site who comes one day a week, and they've got a pharmacy in the hospital as well, so they offer free prescription and medication. So he built all of that up. But when he was around, I wasn't interested. But now he's passed, so the mantle's been passed to me. So it's a UK registered charity. And my brothers asked if I would become the director of the charity after he passed. So every couple of weeks we have meetings and we talk about the charity, where it's going, what's happening with it, how the donations are going and where the work's been done. So since he's passed, I've now sort of become really involved in it, and I sort of know more about what's happening. And it's something I really like. For me, that is now become so important that I want to continue that legacy.
That's unbelievable legacy. Building a hospital for people from the country you're from to provide the service for free of charge that people can't afford it.
It's amazing.
That really is. Yeah. When you did say you're not even 1/10 of the man, I didn't believe him, but I'm starting to think.
No, absolutely. No, really, I really do mean it. There's things that he did and achieved in his life which I don't think I'll ever be able to do. And I don't know how he did it, because he ran his own business. He had all his kids, and he was running the charity and helping people, get set up, get sponsorships and stuff. I don't know how he did it.
How one man can do something. It just proves
it's amazing
what one can do, can't it? And what a massive inspiration. How old was he when he died, Haseeb, if you don't mind me asking?
I think he was about 78, if I'm not wrong.
It's still, it's not old, is it?
It's not old. But he'd been ill for a very long time. So like around 20, almost 22 years. So he started with a tumor that he had on his pituitary gland, which meant that it was producing a lot of growth hormone. So his body kept kind of growing into his adulthood, and that had an impact on his heart, his lungs, his spine, and created a cascade of issues, and that sort of just kept snowballing into other things. And so he wasn't old, but he'd been ill for a long time. We used to joke, me and my brother, we used to call him the Terminator, because we were like, nothing can kill him. Like, he's had tumors, he's had heart operations, he had everything. He had diabetes, he had everything, and still nothing. He even had like kidney failure. He was going 2-3 times a week to the hospital for kidneys and stuff. It was just it was non-stop. It was crazy.
I bet you just thought the thing he's just going to keep going till he's 100 anyway. He'll just
you think that, but then you also in the back of your mind, you're also like, how much more can he take?
True.
But my dad is old school, probably like your dad was. Like, pain was one of those things. They just worked through it.
Got on with
they didn't. He never complained.
Exactly that. When my dad got ill, he had a brain tumour and then went into cancer, like dead. I think he had about a year from diet. He said 6 months to 2 years. I think he got about a year in all from getting diagnosed. Exactly what he said. Not once, didn't whinge, didn't say why me. No, just fucking got on with it. Still, he was a head teacher. He'd done really well he was from your dad was Manchester as well, wasn't he, where he lived there? My dad was there,
Yeah.
Manchester. Grew up in Wythenshawe, which is predominantly quite a poor area. And just
Yeah, really close to where my dad lives. My dad lives in Hill Green, right next to Wythenshawe.
And Hill Green just goes into Cheshire, doesn't it? It's like right next.
It does. It just becomes a little bit posher.
Yeah.
But there's literally one road from Hill Green into Wythenshawe, and it changes completely. Yeah.
But like I said, to become a head teacher there, I went to college, and like I said, to do what he did was unbelievable. And then just to get, and like I said, when he did get ill, just got on with it, and just literally weren't feeling sorry for himself, and just wanted to live. He really was like exactly just a top bloke, and just took every day in his stride, and just a great role model example for me. And like you said, exactly saying what you said, if I could be 1/10 for the man he is, I've done well, sort of thing. But like again, my dad hasn't built any hospital, so he's got to up his game. He should have upped his game.
I don't think any of us are going to be building hospitals, man.
That must be a small bracket, isn't it?
That's something quite grand. Yeah.
I think all the best thing he did for me is show me how to be. Well, show me he gave me the best role model to be the best dad, and I've just got to do exactly the same for my boys, really, and just keep working hard, and just telling that story of your dad is so inspirational. Like how creating a hospital, I think that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really amazing. And I my only regret is I wasn't more involved when he was with us. But it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly that. It's nothing to do, is it?
When we're young, we're kind of stupid. We just get distracted by stupid things which don't make sense. Like we want to be chilling with all our friends. We want to go out. We want to buy nice cars and spend money on stupid things. And you just think about all the time and money you've wasted when you could have spent that with family. And like all of my friends, pretty much, who, I used to hang out with when I was younger, like I either don't see them, or if I do, there's very few of them, and I just chat to them on social media or WhatsApp, and that's it.
And then,
my family's still there.
Exactly that. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't agree with that more again. It's just, your family, just, no matter what happens, you've got a good family, they'll always be there, and it's so important. And I think you don't realise that until you get older. Obviously, I fall out with my siblings quite a bit over like small, let's say fall out, but we have disagreements, etc. But they'll always be there. We always love each other no matter what. And like you said, it's friends sort of come and go, don't they? But your friends, your family there, you've got the same mum and dad. You can't break that, can you?
No, absolutely. It's the most important thing. Look, societies since beginning of human history have been built on cohesion, like families and societies, like where you build communities. You can't do things on your own. You need to have people around you to support you, and your family is your best community that is going to help you and support you through life. So I know there's a lot of people who fall out with their family members. I've got family members of mine who I've fallen out with, or I don't speak with, not because I've done anything, just because they've decided they don't want to speak to anyone, or they don't want to speak to anyone in the family anymore. And that's fine, that's up to them, but you've got to try and keep relations as much as you can, even with those people like you don't like. Like I've got cousins of mine who are really annoying, when we were kids, but you have to still keep good relations because they're family, at the end of the day. It's important to do that.
I completely agree again. It's all I've said today. It's completely agree. How's life in Switzerland? Because that is, I remember saying when we met you, I was like, I'm coming over, and I will be coming over at some point. Because
you've got to come over.
I think I sent you a TikTok, didn't I? God knows how long ago, with all the different spots. I've been to them. I was like, well, I'll have to come over, and it looks incredible.
Switzerland is an incredible country if you want to come visit. Living here is quite difficult. So firstly, obviously, I miss my family. Because I don't have any family here at all. I've got some friends here now. I've made friends. But I miss the food as well. I know that sounds bizarre. People who are not from the UK are going to be watching this going, English food is crap, it's rubbish, it's this. But what you don't understand about the UK is that you can get any type of food from anywhere in the world, be it Afghani cuisine, to like Zimbabwean cuisine. There'll be somewhere that will serve this cuisine and it will be authentic. And that's what I miss about the UK, is that you can go out and you can have any type of food. In Switzerland, it's kind of boring, man. It's so what I've, because we've traveled, me and my wife have traveled extensively in Switzerland because we love the country, we love the landscape. It's absolutely incredible. To me, it's almost like, if I can say this, it's like heaven on earth, because you've got mountains and lakes and scenery, which when you look at, you cannot comprehend how beautiful it is. It's absolutely incredible. It's unbelievable. And I often say to my wife, it just looks like a painting. It doesn't even look real, because you just can't understand how something can be so beautiful. But what I have noticed is that if you go to like really high-end restaurants, the food is incredible. The food is... I remember one time we went to, I think it was a 5-star hotel, and they had a well-known restaurant in there in Zurich. And we weren't expecting anything. And I remember one of the starters was a leek soup. And I'm not a soup guy, I'm a meat guy. And my wife was like, no, we should try it. So, okay, fine, we'll try it. And it was honestly the best soup I've ever had. It was absolutely incredible. And everything that came out was amazing. So the lower end of Switzerland, you can grab a quick bite, but everything is massively expensive. So it's ridiculous. Like we were. So for some friends of ours who live in Switzerland with us, we were planning a trip to London, and we were talking about food, which restaurants we wanted to go to, and looking at the menu. And I was just heartbroken, man, because the food was amazing, and it was about probably a third or a quarter of the price of what it is here. So that's Switzerland in a nutshell. It's a beautiful country, massively expensive. Food is not great. People are not very nice, actually. No. People don't know that. So a lot of people come to Switzerland, and when I say that, they get really confused. They're like, what are you talking about? People are really nice. But you're not coming to live. You're coming and you're visiting all the service industries. You're going to hotels and restaurants and bars and stuff like that, where their job is to make sure that they're kind and they're nice and they serve you. But when you're outside of that and you have to live here and you have to deal with administration and people on the train because you're commuting every day, it is a different story.
I hate when people don't hold the door. I hate when people don't say please or thank you. Is it sort of that sort of...
In Switzerland, it's one of the rudest countries in the world. Not because they purposely rude, but because they don't understand manners.
They just don't.
They'll barge past you. They'll hit you with the bag. They won't say excuse me. They won't say please. They won't say thank you. They just expect. And if you say anything, that causes a problem because they get upset. Like, why are you saying anything? What's the problem? What's the issue?
Make out like you're the problem.
So, because I work for the UN, I speak to a lot of foreigners, a lot of people who are expats, and they all say the same thing. They say Swiss people have absolutely no manners.
That's like you said. That's massively important, isn't it? Just a little. That's what I love the most. With Albie, obviously Louis June, but Albie, please, thank yous, excuse me,
absolutely
everything, and that is so important. That's my biggest bugbears. Same with driving. If someone doesn't say thank you on a giveaway or like vice versa, and it shouldn't bother me as much as it does.
Don't come and drive here. No. Some of the worst driving you've ever seen, mate. It's absolutely awful. Absolutely terrible. People approach roundabouts, don't even slow down, don't indicate, don't say thank you. It's like a war. You've got to be alert, and you've got to have 360-degree field of view to see everything that's going on. People just step out into the road. Pedestrians don't stop because the law in Switzerland is that when you come to what we call a zebra crossing, the driver has to stop. But in the UK, the highway code also tells the pedestrian that you need to stop, look, listen before you cross. But in Switzerland, they don't do that. So you'll be approaching a zebra crossing, you see someone just walking up to it, and I know now that I need to slow down. But when I first started driving here, I was just driving thinking, oh, well, this person, like, if they want to cross, they'll go to the crossing, they'll look, they'll stop, they'll check. Nope, just come walking straight out. They don't even turn their head. And when it first happened, I said to my wife, are these people insane? Do they want to die? She was like, no, but you have to stop and give them way. I'm like, yeah, but they have to look. You don't just step into the road without looking. But here it's all kind of crazy. Wow. But a lot of people complain about things in Switzerland. But one of the things is, even though things are very expensive, the salaries generally are quite high. They're quite good. There's generally stability in the housing market, even though it's quite difficult to find a property to rent. The rents generally are quite sort of they're quite good. They're not too high. So there are pros and cons, for everything. But the one thing I do miss, like you said, I'm always telling the boys, you need to be polite, you need to be respectful, you need to say please, you need to say thank you. And because they're surrounded by people who don't do that.
Yeah, that's even harder.
My oldest one time said to me, why? No one else does it. And I said, I don't care what anyone else does. This is you. You have to carry yourself and present yourself. And the one thing you always have is manners. Manners maketh man. And as an English person, as an English-born person, for me, that's so incredibly important.
Completely agree, mate. That is exactly so important. And it takes 2 seconds, doesn't it? And it's just
it doesn't cost anything.
It goes such a long way, especially with me. If someone's just polite in that, and it just goes, like you said, I'll always be polite. And then, like, but at the same time, if someone doesn't, I'll be like, I probably will just say, like, I'll have the door open and just like some little crappy comment where I shouldn't really. I should just think, oh no, just let everyone the same. But it does. It takes 2 seconds, doesn't it? And it's just, I think it's small things amount to big things, don't they?
Yeah, and like you, I don't think there's an excuse for not being polite or having manners. Like I said, it defines, for me, it defines you, who you are.
Completely.
So, I of course, there are times when, I may have forgotten or I'm in my own world because I'm constantly walking around thinking in my own thoughts, and I might forget. But I always try to make sure that I make a point of it.
Yeah, we're always human, aren't we? Like, you do the odd time. And if you have to, sorry, thank you. I just, send me a little will day. And like you said, obviously, and that's, if I have.
I do miss that about the UK.
Yeah.
I do miss that because people are much more polite and much more, they have manners. Mm-hmm. And they're much chattier. So in Switzerland, people don't talk to each other. And the thing my wife loves, every time we go to the UK, she'll always comment about how friendly people are. Like, we'll walk into a shop and, they'll just be like, oh, are you okay? Is everything okay? Do you need anything? She's like, oh my God, I forgot how nice people are here. One time we went into a little toy store. I think it was in Altrincham. And the woman behind the counter, she just started chatting to my wife, Carol. And they had about a 10-minute conversation. And Carol said to me afterwards, that never would have happened in Switzerland. Never.
My wife always says to me, she was like, "You just stop talking for just like 10 minutes." I'll literally sit down next to anyone and I'll be there try and have a conversation because you're here, aren't you? It's just, why wouldn't you just try and spread a bit of positivity and niceness, should we say? And
I think we need that. We need that nowadays, man, because we're becoming detached from each other with social media.
Everyone's got a story as well, haven't they? And you could just meet someone, have just a quick chat in a bar, could be like said on the bus, in the library, anywhere. Like, and you just a quick conversation, and it's nice, isn't it? Like, you don't have to go into depth. Just general politeness and just a little smile and that. It just goes a long way, doesn't it?
Exactly. And to you and me, it might just be just a conversation, but you don't know what effect that has on the other person. Yeah. It might be that, they were feeling down and depressed that day and no one was talking to them, or they just needed someone to talk to, and you've suddenly struck up a conversation and now suddenly they're feeling better. Just having that conversation can completely change your mood, which is why social interaction is so important on a human level.
Yeah. But back to when you first started doing your podcast, because I want some tips. So what did you, when you did your solo episodes, how did you do it so well? Did you write notes? Did it?
So I kind of cheated a bit. All right. So what I did was this. So in Switzerland, I found a local podcast studio, and I bought a little package with them. So you buy like a number of hours. So with the studio, you don't need to do any setup. You just tell them what you want in the background, like you want a bookshelf, lights, blah, blah, blah. They put you on a table and they set up all the cameras and lights. So all you do is you book your slot, you go in, you do your recording, and then within 24 hours, they send you all the files, all the audio and video files. Oh. And then I used to use a video editor who was abroad, and we would just share the files to Google Drive. They would take them, edit them, and then from the podcast, they would send me clips and they would edit the full podcast, and then I would upload it. So in that way, it became easier for me because I didn't need to do any setup. I don't need to worry about lighting or cameras or is everything recording, because there's always a guy in the studio making sure that everything's working. So they just monitor everything. They don't do anything else.
I could have done with that guy before we started, couldn't I?
So I would say that if someone's starting a podcast and you're worried about all of this stuff like lighting, video, find a studio. It costs a bit of money, but it's absolutely worth it. Just go in, record, come out, get your files, get them to an editor, and get them uploaded. With the content, so what I did was I wrote a lot of it myself, and then I had a little bit of help from AI. So I would fact check things.
Yeah.
So I use an AI called Perplexity, which is really good for doing research because you can research journals and papers. So I'd reference those. So I'd do a lot of my own writing, and it used to take me hours and hours, but I'd do my own writing, get AI to kind of check it. But a lot of times I got frustrated with AI because it would give me wrong information. This is one of the things that people don't really talk about AI, but a lot of the time it was giving me false information. Just really cannot. One of the things first I had to do was to tell AI. So I specialize in what we call high intensity training, and it would get confused with high intensity interval training, which is completely different. So high intensity training is strength training, and high intensity interval training is cardiovascular training. And so it would keep giving me references to HIIT, high intensity interval training. And I'd have to weed out all of that information and keep telling it, like, this is wrong. This is not the thing I'm looking for. So AI can help with your scripts. So with interviews, I didn't have a script. I would just, like you and I'd call in someone, say it was a mutual friend of ours, Mike, fridge man who carried the fridge on his back up Mount Kilimanjaro. So with him, it was just purely natural. I booked a studio in Staffordshire because I was there at the time. We met up, sat down. We did an hour and a bit long podcast where he was just talking about what he'd done. I just had that edited and uploaded. And for the solo ones, I did all the scripting. So I did everything that I wanted to talk about. Went into the studio, recorded, had the video editor edit them, and then I uploaded them to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all the usual podcast platforms. So I'd say if you can afford it, try to minimize the amount of work you do. So if you can't afford, or if you don't have the time or the expertise on setting up lighting and video, buying cameras and all that, just hire a studio. It makes it a lot easier.
I think your episode, you could tell how good they were and the effort that you put in, second to none, because the content was great. And like I said, especially with Mike, Mark's a great bloke. And like that whole chat was just even like just off the cuff. I listened to that. Brilliant. Like I said, is just two good chaps having a chat, and it really was good. And hopefully you maybe look into it one day again, because I really enjoyed it, mate. I'm not just saying that because you're on here. It was really good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I did do another interview with someone, but like I said, so after I spoke with Mike, another guy who was really interesting as well. He's from the north as well, northwest. But because I've been so busy with my work and my priorities have kind of changed, I haven't. So I've actually got some episodes that I've already recorded, but they just haven't been edited and uploaded. So I need to find a way to motivate myself to get back into it.
Well, it's just
because,
like I said, mate, it's just put things what's right for you, isn't it? And just like I said, pick it up 6 months time down the line, whenever. Just see how things go, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's something I really want to do.
Honestly, I thought you were brilliant because you done it. You were straight out the traps, as they say, and it really was superb. It was, and like you said, when I thought I've got to ask him how he did it, because it really was good. Like I said, I've still got your little card.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's it.
But I'm sort of round it up now. I've been chatting for quite a long time now, because I wasted about 20 minutes before you got here trying to get everything ready. I'm an absolute nightmare. So.
Technical issues.
Yeah, you've been an idiot. That's the biggest one. Three favourite books, self-development. This is for me personally.
Personal development books. Wow.
3 favourites.
You put me on the spot now.
Sorry, mate.
No, it's okay. I quite like. So my hero, if you like, is Mike Mensa, who is an ex-bodybuilder. He's no longer with us, and he's he was one of the people that brought high intensity training kind of to the masses. And he's got a number of books and seminars where he talks not just about bodybuilding, but about thinking about your life and what you're doing. So Mike Mensa was kind of the thinking man's bodybuilder. So Mike Mensa competed at the same time as people like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Him and Arnold had a massive rivalry. I think it was in 1980 when Arnold won the Mr. Olympia after being out of it for 3 or 4 years because he'd been making movies and stuff. And Mike should have really won that Olympia. But it was all kind of, I don't know if I can say this without getting in trouble, but the claims are that it was all rigged because allegedly. Arnold knew the judges and all the rest of it, allegedly, yeah. But Mike wrote quite a few books, and even though they were mainly about bodybuilding, so there was one called Heavy Duty, there was Heavy Duty 2. A lot of it was to do with psychology. A lot of it was questioning why we do certain things. So, for example, why do people go to the gym 3 times a week? Why do people eat 3 square meals a day? Who said that that's the correct thing to do? So Mike would question all these things, and I'd read his books. So a lot of them you can't buy anymore because obviously they were printed a long time ago, and he's since passed away and they're not being reprinted. But I was able to. It's not on Audible, but you can go to so John Little, who was a very good friend of Mike Mensa's. He releases a lot of videos on Mike, and on his website you can purchase some of the PDFs of the books.
I'll have to have a look at that because any help.
So yeah, Heavy Duty 2 are really good books. So Mike was always questioning why we do certain things, why we're conditioned in a certain way. So he wanted to know why people go into the gym and do 5 sets of one exercise. What's the point of that when you could do one? But the way you do those sets is completely different. And then thinking about nutrition as well, because people were really complicating it. A lot of people say you shouldn't eat carbs if you want to lose weight. Mike was completely against that. Mike was of the thought that it's very simply just about calories. And Mike was also, he was very philosophical. Apparently, he tells a story of one time. So he had hundreds of clients, and he told a story of one time where a client came to him because he wasn't making progress in his training, and Mike agreed to take him on as a student and coach him. And when the student or the person he was coaching realized that he wasn't going to be spending hours and hours in the gym, but probably 20 or 30 minutes, maybe once or twice a week, he asked Mike, what am I actually going to do with my free time? And Mike said, well, why don't you do something that would improve yourself? Why don't you read a book? Why don't you go for walks? Why don't you start a hobby? Why don't you start painting? Why don't you actualize your self-worth? Like, what are you really here for? What's going on? So he really made people think about what it was that we were doing and why we were doing it. So for me, he's been one of the greatest inspirations, not just in terms of strength training, but in terms of thinking about why we do certain things and always questioning, what we're told to do, what we're conditioned to do, and why we're doing it. So any Mike Mensa books you can read, anything by John Little, who was a very good friend of Mike Mensa as well. Arthur Jones is another person who was another. So Arthur, just quickly, the timeline is Arthur Jones kind of trained Mike Mensa. Mike Mensa then kind of trained Dorian Yates, who became 6 times Mr. Olympia. So they all have a bit of a connection. Yeah. So, and they're all kind of thinking people. They don't just go with the norm of what we're told to do. They're always questioning why we're doing certain things and trying to improve and become better. So Mike Mensa is one of my people that I would say, if you can read his books, there's a lot of really, really good information in there. Jordan B. Peterson, he's got, I think it's 11 Habits.
Yeah, I think
I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the book now. I've got it, but
listen to some of these on Audible. To be fair.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. Although I feel that sometimes he becomes a bit too political, rather than just being about improving yourself.
I think he's a bit drony, to be honest. His voice is.
He's a bit drony, and he cries too much as well. Because he just starts now. I don't know what it is nowadays. He just starts randomly crying. He'll just be sitting there doing an interview and just starts crying. And I'm quite harsh. I'm like, just shut up and stop crying and just talk. Like, what are you crying about?
Just get on with it. But yeah, I've listened to a few of his on the. I think it's that one that you did say. I can't remember the exact name. And then like when you like put it on in the when I'm at work and I got it in the background, and I was like, I didn't listen to a word of that, and I have to like rewind it, sort of thing.
Rewind it, yeah.
Sort of like that's when you sort of like, right, I'll turn this off for a bit now because it's not going in that ain't, and that's
yeah. It's kind of difficult. I think for me, audiobooks are okay, but I tend to do that. I tend to listen to them. Nothing goes in. I have to rewind and go back. Whereas if I'm actually reading a physical book, my attention is 100% focused on what I'm reading. It goes in 100%, man. Even reading on a phone, after about 5 or 10 minutes, I start to lose attention. I can't focus. But an actual book it's maybe it's because I've been conditioned since I've been a kid. I
think like when I'm on holiday, I do love an actual physical book, to be fair. But I think just during the week, it works for me time wise to have it on Audible just because I can do it at work.
Because you can listen to it, it's convenient.
And it does. I probably do find it personally. I find that probably easier to listen to. That it probably goes in better for me, to be honest, than reading. I sort of get sidetracked with reading. Sort of don't really want to do it. But like but like sometimes, like you said, I do just like I'm gonna have to redo that chapter because I've just been in my own little planet in my head, sort of my own world, sort of thing.
Yeah. But for me, the physical books are the best. I love them. So I still buy them even now when I see something on. There's a new book I bought recently, Surrounded by Idiots. I can't remember who the author is. It's strange. So basically, the book is about how to deal with. It's not just about how to deal with idiots or people that we consider to be idiots. It's about understanding people's personality traits. So it's about understanding who are leaders, who are followers, and then different types of people that are categorized, and basically how to communicate with different types of people. So that's a really good book as well, Surrounded by Idiots. So again, I can't remember who the author is, but it's quite popular.
Because I have heard that, like I said, everyone is sort of different. They have like a different category. Basically, you're going to be in one of these, and how to
exactly.
Give that because that does sound.
Yeah, it's a really good book. Yeah.
Steve, mate, thank you very much for your time. I really have enjoyed this, and like it's
me too, man. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. And like I remember when we spoke on message saying you sort of reevaluating. I was like, I don't know where this is going to go, sort of thing. But honestly, just sorry to hear about your dad. Just to reiterate that, and just obviously a great man. What he's done is incredible, and you're a great man. And ever since I've met you, I've got nothing but utmost respect. And everything you do, like you do it exceptionally well, and you're a great person as well. So, and I know you'll be the best dad to your boys, and I'm sure you don't mind me saying, I'm sure your dad's very proud of you, and I'm sure you will carry on his legacy, and you will improve it, and I know you will. So, hopefully,
thanks, man, and I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and to you as well. I know you're an amazing guy, and like we hit it off straight away.
Yeah, straight away.
So yeah, and I see the greatness in you as well, and I know that you're going to be amazing for your family and your kids as well.
Really appreciate it.
And
man.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's where we connect. Yeah,
100%, mate. But yeah, thank you for your time again, because I know you're a busy man. And
thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, cheers, Haseeb. Thank you, mate. Take care.
Thanks, man. See you soon.